about Darfree John. Thousands of people all over the world have read Darfree John's teaching and consider him a voice of truth. They welcome his wise counsel in the midst of all the bewildering arguments broadcast by the news media and the official religious and secular scientific authorities of our time. Many people also recognize that Darfree John is a spiritual teacher of the highest degree, a divinely enlightened man, and thus have approached him for spiritual instruction, acknowledging his God-given capacity to help others realize enlightened happiness. His own perfect happiness radiates divine grace and love to all who enter into a true spiritual relationship with him. Traditionally, such teachers take names that describe their spiritual understanding and work. Dar is a spiritual name meaning to give or to bestow. Free John is a rendering of Franklin Jones, his name at birth, which in the original Welsh means a liberated man through whom God is gracious. Darfree John was born in the West, and he realized enlightenment here and lives here. He has always devoted his life to a most profound investigation, understanding, and communication of the divine condition of our existence. During his early years, he engaged in cultural, philosophical, and religious studies at Columbia College, Stanford University, and 3 Christian seminaries. But for him, academic study was always secondary or subservient to his intense personal examination of all possible experience and knowledge. As a young man, with the help of spiritual teachers, both in America and the Orient, he wrested and perfected all the principal esoteric paths of religion and mysticism. He found, however, that even the extraordinary evolutionary transmission of body and mind that he enjoyed through these paths did not lead to a condition of perfect surrender to God, the living one. He had felt literally from birth that such surrender is our only true happiness, sanity, and enlightenment. This understanding was confirmed by all the most profound moments of spiritual awakening that occurred during his early life. Thus, in 1970, while only 30 years old, Darfree John permanently and totally surrendered into God and awoke as that very one, God, the transcendental spirit of the world. In this way, he became a living vehicle or agent for the divine transformation of humanity. Darfree John was called Bubba, his boyhood name meaning brother or friend, during the early years of his formal work as spiritual master, when he lived with many ordinary people, instructing them and revealing to them the divine way of life. He spoke the truth of existence and also demonstrated that truth to those who came to him for spiritual help. Out of this creative interplay, Darfree John has revealed a teaching called the Way of Divine Ignorance, or Radical Understanding. This teaching is fully presented in all his books, published since the beginning of his teaching work in 1972. Darfree John has also founded the Free Primitive Church of Divine Communion, commonly known as the Free Communion Church, which disseminates his teaching and prepares individuals for devotional access to his spiritual company. Now that the initial preparatory period of his teaching work is over and the basic source texts of this teaching have been published, Geoffrey John has embarked upon a new and more expansive phase of spiritual activity. In the traditional manner of enlightenment, of enlightened teachers, he has been moved to empower his own name, Da, as a spiritual word or name for the benefit and use of all who awaken to God on the basis of his teaching and presence in the world. He has freely given instructions in the practice of divine remembrance by invocation of the living divine being through his name, not only to members and friends of the Church, but to anyone in the world who is moved to respond.